intro.
Harrisville knitting and high fiber knits.
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's. Welcome back. This is Harrisville Knitting. I'm Jennifer.
And I'm Emily from High Fiber Knits.
And together we're podcasting today with Harrisville Knitting and High Fiber Knits to bring you an extra fun yardy adventure from Toronto.
Let's do it.
So sit down, get cozy. You're gonna find out everything that we're doing. Shall we say what we're
An overview.
going over?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. Cheater notes. We are going to be talking about what we're wearing, then how we met, which is so lovely, and I feel so lucky that you're here today. We're going to be going over what knitting means for us. So a little bit of a deeper, different yarn adventure that we're chatting about.
In the feels.
Totally. We're going to be talking about our favorite things. So we're going over favorite finished objects, favorite yarn. We're going to be talking about a fiber travel favorite story to share with you today. What is sparking absolute joy in us and not necessarily a fiber related component of our lives. And then we're going to be wrapping up with a randomized spinner wheel for the Little Knits KAL.
I'm so excited for that. I haven't gotten to spin a wheel yet, so looking forward to it.
Me too. I'm just so excited that we're here together today. All right, business. What we're wearing. What are you wearing, Emily?
All right. Today I am wearing a recent finished object and test knit. So we're filming today. It's not released yet, but stay tuned for it in December. This is the Conway slipover by Sophie, who's the knit Purl girl. And it's top down slipover, really stylish, really wonderful shaping in the back. All increases, no short rows, which I find is always a fun method because you can kind of cruise through it. And then you've got this like really minimalistic, but still like eye-catching cable detail that goes down the front of the slipover. It's amazing. I knit this up in the Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair and merino held together in poppy blue, very specifically to match my little thrifted skirt here. So this was 10 out of 10. I'm so thrilled with it and would definitely recommend you stay tuned for the pattern release in December.
It's a stunner. And again, like I feel like I'm going opposite. I feel everyone was so deep into the mohair train. And of course, I'm a little bit of a naughty knitter and I like to not always go with the trends. So I wasn't super into mohair. I'm kind of like
getting back in.
Dipping in now.
Yeah.
I'm dipping in and you're gonna see some stuff mohairy.
It's good.
It's good.
I took a step away from mohair for a while too, but like really high neck layered underneath. So it's really comfy and good for like workwear. I'm not sure if it's gonna be hot or cold in the school. This is like the best happy medium.
So good. And of course you've done like tubular bind up, have you?
Just Italian, just the sewn bind off. I don't like to do the slip stitch rows because I don't have the patience for it, frankly. Nothing to do with the look, just I feel like it's similar enough in appearance and like the structural integrity that...
You didn't even show the underarm.
Oh, LOL. The funny thing about this underarm...
Do you want to show the underarm?
Yeah, it's actually kind of
really
funny.
Good.
So you do some central double decreases at the underarm to make it sit flush with the body, especially if you plan to not wear a t-shirt underneath. Yeah. So on this left arm, you can see that I actually didn't center the decreases.
Okay.
The center double decreases. So like if we compare with the right arm.
Okay, get in there.
See how that's like really flush with the
middle?
middle?
It's very good.
And that's like at the back.
Okay. No one look at your armpit that much. But they're both beautiful to me.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's staring at my armpits really to pay attention to what's going on there, so I don't mind, and there's no noticeable fit differences, but the detail with those decreases at the bottom of the underarm, so it sits flush against the body, I think is really good as far as fit goes. I haven't had a successful slipover yet, so I'm thrilled.
So you're feeling this is your first happy, successful, wearable slipover.
Yep. It's good stuff.
This is a great start already. The reason why I noticed it is I'm just finishing my mom's vest that I've totally modified from the Stockholm V slipover. I think that's what it's called, from Petite Knit. I just talked about it in my last week's episode. And it's got that little double D creasy bit. And it's just such an effective thing. It's really, like, I'm looking at the bag one. It's beautiful. It's so nice. All right, we're gonna bounce into more things because otherwise we could be here for like 50 years.
What are you wearing?
This is for me now, I feel it's tried and true. This for me was like a cozy choice. I tried on like 4 sweaters before Emily came to be like, which one do I want to wear? This is what I chose in the end. I feel like it matches the weather, and I feel like I wanted something modern-y classic. So I went with the field sweater by Camilla Vad, and I've worn it on the podcast. I've talked about it. I finished knitting this I think I finished knitting this in Nova Scotia when I was on sabbatical last year. So every stitch for me always has meaning. This one is just gorgeously oozing with meaning for where I started, where the yarn was purchased quickly. So we are a top-down, really highly textured knit. I've talked about this recently. This came up in my cables, like all about cables video as well, because even though it doesn't look like cables, they are definitely made like cables. And the yarn is gorgeous. I just want to say every row is different. So it's a super minds on knit, like super minds on knit.
Yeah.
But totally fine. I mean, I was on sabbatical. I had the brain capacity at the time. The yarn is I always get mixed up. I want to say it's a light and airy one. Woolen spun, not worsted, woolen spun, where the yarn's carded in 2 separate ways to get a really light and airy feel. This I purchased on site at Harrisville Designs in New Hampshire, in the United States, when we were doing one of our many road trips, and fell in love. This is Shear. It is the DK weight yarn. The last time I checked, it wasn't even available, and I loved it. I really described it as I felt like a knitting ballerina as I was knitting this up.
I love that.
It was just stunning to work with. It was a pure joy. It is I think it's a 2-ply twisted, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just so incredibly light and super stretchy, which I feel the more I'm knitting, the more I'm appreciating. And definitely I talked about when doing cables or something that involves a lot of, manipulation of stitches, putting them out of order, stitching a bunch together to make decreases. Having an elastic yarn for me is essential because it really allows me to knit more than I normally would if it wasn't elastic, if that makes sense, because it's easier on the hands.
Yeah, I feel like it must have been like 2.5 years ago now. I was doing the Luminen pullover by Sari Nordland, and that is like a super bulky weight knit, and it's got the K5 togethers in there. And I was like, this would be an absolute nightmare without a stretchy yarn. And also, I did the thing where you do the smaller needle size on your left needle or your not working needle, so you can fit your other needle into those stitches. But like, I totally hear you. Like the elasticity when you're doing texture is so key. But I really love like this design, the way the neck is like substantial, but it just kind of cascades into the texture and over the shoulders.
It's true.
I find like my qualm with a lot of round neck sweaters is that the collar ends up sitting like around the throat instead of like on the base of the neck.
I wish I had that. I know, I love when sweaters,
okay.
I do, we're so opposite in so many ways. I love when it like hugs my neck. Like I want it to just like get in there and get cozy with it, which is why I feel every sweater, I'd have to look back at my notes. I'll pick up significantly less stitches, so it brings it in more.
Okay.
I know. This one I didn't, in that, it's still like,
it gives it that like really classy, it's elegant.
I feel elegant today.
You are elegant.
In my curly hair. I like that you're sporting curly wavy hair today too. Go natural. Okay. How we met.
You have to tell this one.
Okay, I do. I'll start and then you just jump in. So the year before my sabbatical year, I was really obviously loving knitting. I love chatting, of course, and making connections. I love community. And I knew that I wanted to start podcasting. I feel like I needed to get someone who I really admired and their opinion. I needed to kind of have someone do a little encouragement. Not that I'm a person that needs a lot of encouragement. I'm a highly motivated individual, I feel. But this was a little out of my comfort zone in that, like, I'm doing a film of myself. So I'm like, would anyone even want to listen to this? And then B, like, a lot of the tech piece and kind of navigating that was really overwhelming in my brain at the time. So I reached out to Emily, who I didn't know, hadn't met, but adored what I knew of you in your podcast. Found out as well, Toronto-based gal. And I thought, all right, we're gonna do it. You know, I feel like it's kind of like in dating world. I never would allow myself to feel like I shouldn't message this person in online dating many moons ago when I was doing this. And I felt the same. I'm like, you know what, if Emily isn't keen, that's totally cool. But at least I gave it a whirl to meet up and to chat about all things podcast. And I figured at least even, hopefully out of this for her as well, she'll gain, like, that she knows she has a massive fan not too far away from her. And I feel so lucky because you said yes to meeting me.
I did.
I was jazzed about it. This was in June, 2 years ago now.
2 years ago now.
Yeah, because
oh my
last year I
goodness,
was on sabbatical.
Yeah.
And so this was it. We met at a cidery in Toronto, and I feel like it was perfect. It was a beautiful day. We both brought our knitting, and I feel just hit it off right away. We talked about all things knitting and podcasting, but I feel like leaving. And maybe you feel this way too. When you meet someone new for the first time, I either feel, and it doesn't even have to be new. Sometimes people are like energy drainers where you leave and you feel you've given so much to that person over the conversation. And then it can be like a little overwhelming, or they can be like energy givers. This is who I am. And this is exactly how I feel when I'm with different people. I love people, and I felt like I was on cloud nine. I was so energized, and I could do anything. I was like, Emily's the best. We had a great time. Heck yeah, I'm gonna start this podcast. Like, I can't wait. And so it was fully that like combo of like massive motivation, because you were totally, you know, an instigator of like, of course you have to do this. Go for it. What's the worst that could happen? And then also answered all my tech questions, but like such an energy giver. I felt so jazzed.
I feel like every time we're together, like from the very first time to every time we've been together since, it's like 3 hours blow by and we've talked about anything and everything. And like, you watch Jen, you know she's amazing. And like, you motivate me and you make me feel bold and brave. And like, I'm just like grateful to know you. Outside of like any of this, like I'm just grateful to have you as a friend in my life. Like, anybody who has Jen in their life is a lucky person.
You're so lucky.
I'm gonna cry if I say anymore, I swear.
No, I feel the same. I feel the same. And I feel like we don't make that opportunity to hang out enough, and we should. I feel like the last time we did what I would consider like a proper hangout was Knit City. We had a blast. Like, we're amazing when we hang out together. We just need to make more time. You know, life gets busy. Mm-hmm. It's so lovely. Oh, so good. Okay, so there we are. So hopefully you have a fiber friend as well that you feel just as gorgeous with, because, you know, we want to bring our community, first grow the community, but then also allow it to be such a lovely, gorgeous space. So I love this. This is the best. And if you're considering podcasting, maybe you should get into it.
Do it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel because I gain so much from you and understanding, having some insight, just bouncing off ideas. We're like, is this the crazy thing? And everyone's like, yes, agreed. I don't know. It's nice. It's nice. And then of course, knitter, like, you know, awesome knitter. It's great. Icing on the cake. All right, so looking for more fiber fun adventures together, of course.
100%.
What knitting means for us. So, I mean, I feel this question could be taken in any way, obviously, but like I'll pose the question, like, what does knitting mean for you? What does knitting do for you?
Yeah, I mean, like, that's kind of the beauty of it, that it can go so many ways and that there isn't one answer. There never has been one answer. I think for me, finishing my undergraduate studies in the spring of 2020 and then transitioning into a fully online, fully remote master's program in the fall of 2020, picking up knitting in December of that year really just felt like filling a gap that was in my life at that time. I previously was going to the gym like 6 times a week. Time was filled with
Tell them why you're going to the gym. What were you doing at the gym?
I was bodybuilding. Once upon a time in what feels like a past life at this point. And so for me, knitting was a big part of just transitioning into a new chapter of my life. And as I was knitting, I was kind of finding ways that it was aligning with values I already had or kind of shifting and transforming my values. So like, I'm a person who likes to have control. If you've seen any of my videos before, like I just give that vibe. Like I like control, and that's okay. And I love how knitting allows me to have control, to make decisions about how I want to knit things. If I want to change the pattern, I can choose my fiber, my colors. And so that's been a really big tool for actualizing like my personal style and figuring out just what I like, what I don't like. And then from there being able to make really conscious and informed decisions when I don't have full control over, you know, the clothing items in front of me. So like if I'm shopping at the mall, reading the care labels and looking at fiber composition and being super picky about fit and looking for details in stitching quality and things like that. Like I've just noticed a big shift in what I value and prioritize when I am shopping, when I'm dressing myself, and then really just getting to be kind of creative within those parameters. Like I'm on a big kind of color work inspiration kick at the moment. That was not true a year or two ago, but you say it all the time, like you are the boss of your own knitting. I'm the boss of my own knitting. Like that's one of the beautiful pieces of it. And like all of this is secondary to the community, but that's emerged more through the content creation side of things. You can knit and not be on social media, and your knitting is still valid if you're not on social media, but that social media piece of it has been probably the more transformative aspect of knitting for me, because it's brought people like Jen into my life and other wonderful fiber friends that I've been privileged to meet in person, but also just connect with online.
It's beautiful. I love it. I think this is it. Like knitting can mean so many things to everyone and different for everyone. Could I say what knitting means for me?
Of course.
Okay, I'm saying it. I love that.
No, you can't.
It's such a holistic answer. I feel very similar to a lot of those pieces, like being ever more capable and mindful of making purchases, how I'm purchasing, what I'm purchasing, fiber content. Like it's a thing. I mean, I could go down a rabbit hole about everything, but there was a chick at work who was wearing this really pretty, you know, ready-made sweater, and I could tell by looking at it, I could guess the fiber composition. Oh yes. And she's like, okay, so there's a table of like 8 of us around the lunch area. And so I was like, can I touch it? And I'm going to guess. I guessed ridiculously close. And I even guessed percentages.
Percentages.
It was ridiculous. I was like, 30% alpaca. I'm going to go like 40-ish wool. The remainder will be some kind of synthetic. I guess like an acrylic. Sorry. I was like slightly off, but the content was correct.
That's amazing. You could make a game shot of that,
honestly. I know. I feel like that could be the next like high fiber knits Pearsall knitting collab.
We just go to the mall
and be like, touch pencil sweaters.
And then we look at the tags.
At like fiber festivals. It's it's one of those weird talents that you pick up. Knitting is so much for me. For me, it's like that creativity outlet. I think, you know, mirroring what you said, I'm a person that I feel like I tried to deviate away from the creativity, which sounds really weird because I got into a big science mind. So I started out with biochem in undergrad and didn't finish with that, of course, because that wasn't where my heart was. But I feel, you know, there was a time where I feel like I didn't put the value on creativity, and this has allowed me to fully accept and put value for myself, like my personal values of creativity, back into my life. And I find it incredibly fulfilling. It's a gorgeous hobby, I think. And everyone should be a knitter as far as I'm concerned. I love it. Yes, it's time consuming, but I feel the joy and mindfulness and everything we get out of it, it's priceless. Like it's the best.
Yeah.
I will pause there because I feel like I need to be like, we could be here for 50
We could do a whole episode on just that.
We could do, yes. Shall we talk about favorite things, FOs, to start?
Favorite things.
Okay.
It's time.
Okay, it's time.
How do I reach for the thing
I think
without
you're
being
just
super awkward?
Let's not
BRB.
spill the water. I'm gonna move it over just a tad, just in case. Okay, because there's only so much you can fit on a couch of two.
Indeed. All right. So favorite FO of mine is perhaps a little surprising because it's not a garment. I love my sweaters. I wear my sweaters, but sometimes I find that I need to like construct the whole outfit around the garment, and that can be a lot of brain capacity used up. So I find that when I think of my absolute favorite knits, my knee-jerk reaction is toward the bags that I have knit, or more precisely, I guess in this case, that I have crocheted. I just find that with the bags I've knit and crochet, I get so much use out of them in the summertime. And there's not a whole ton of knits that feel like they have really high utility in the summertime. But this bag I crocheted just this past summer using the Rafaela yarn from Hobby. It was gifted to me as part of a social media campaign. But this is 100% paper yarn. It's not raffia. The name is kind of like along the lines of raffia, but it's 100% paper yarn. And this was really difficult to crochet. I fully snapped a crochet hook working on this project, but it was the first time, like as I was getting into crochet, I was kind of freestyling things a little bit, which is quite different from knitting. I find I really like to have a pattern, and I'm quite weary of freestyling when it comes to knitting, which I know is quite different from you. But I just went for it with this bag and I had a blast. My beach bag goes in this bag, and so whenever I'm at the beach, I'm already in a better mood. So just like some psychological association things are happening here that lead me to just like really love my knit and my crochet summer totes.
I love it. I remember we went to Toronto Island in the spring,
Yeah.
and you brought this, and I just, it's so out of my wheelhouse. It's paper.
It's paper.
It's crochet.
The sand shakes out of it so well.
It's
and like
so cool.
the brown, the black, the white, like the blues are really fun pop, but I feel like the neutral colors really ground it. So it's been super easy to just like throw on with almost any, like I could wear it with the slip over, and I feel like we've got some echoes of the blue in there.
I
so
know.
it's good.
The whole thing. Like,
it works.
I wish you could see it with the skirt because it's a perfect outfit together.
We'll do a little outfit B-roll later. maybe.
Okay. It's so good. I love it. I have a question.
Yes.
No, I've never worked paper in this way. Is it washable?
No.
I
think you can I think you can spot clean. I said no, knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
The label probably has some specific instructions, but it's a beach bag, so I'm not too precious about it. Yeah. But it is quite strong. The way this yarn is constructed is it's like a 2-inch kind of strip of tissue paper that gets folded over on itself several times. So the structural integrity, zero stretch, but it is quite hard to pull apart to break, but you can pinch and tear, which is not likely to happen. And it's been twisted upon itself even more as it got crocheted. So yeah, I think it's going to hold up pretty well.
Well, I know it already has.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I feel like this is what I love about our friendship. This is so opposite. Like, plant fibers in general are not my jam. And you showed a non-garment and a plant fiber. Like,
I love my plant fibers.
It's
I love my
amazing.
wools. I love woolly wools, but I look forward to the summer and the spring so that I can work with the viscoses and the cottons and the linens. Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh, okay, I know. I've tried, okay. All right. That's amazing. Okay, we're gonna get to my favorite finish.
Your favorite FO.
And I have two because I couldn't.
You're the boss of your own knitting.
I'm the boss of
And the
knitting.
podcast.
Right? Yeah. Okay, I have two very different ones, and I have to explain why I love both.
Yes.
This is my overall color work of the Jupiter crop. I wore it the other day to school on we've had a lot of gray days already that have happened here in Toronto, and I sometimes lean into the grayness and go with really dark, rich, deep colors to kind of mimic the mood, and I feel like it sets me up. It's like romantic and fun, and but then other times I have to totally combat it, and so I did. Yes. And I wore this the other day, and I realized why I love this so much. Yes, of course, is the color. The design's by Caitlin Hunter. It's supposed to be, so it's the Jupiter crop, which is supposed to be like a what's it called, short sleeve. Yeah, little T. But I've bled out the pattern. So I feel this is a total one of a kind in so many ways, because even though I am going off the designer's pattern, the sleeve is totally different than, what the designer intended, which is always it's a little fun for me. And then I've got, so it's all pure Gant, which I adored. It was my first time working with it. I've got some alpaca mix from, I can't remember, Santa's Garden, not Cost. I don't know, it'll be in the show notes. It was a scrappy yarn, but again, having the texture difference, it's just pumps me up. And the fit for me, I think this was it. This was the realization of last year that I love the Scandi oversized boxy fit, for sure. That has a time and place for me. But I'm not a big person. I'm a mini me. And so having knits that fit with less ease are becoming more my jam. And this is, I think, the total realization that this works with my body type really well. So that's a lot of information on that favorite one. And then my other favorite one, this is the Anchor Sweater by Petite Knit in one strand Little colorways an oatmeal-y bit. Again, it'll be in the show notes. This is my absolute most worn sweater of all time. This totally went off gauge. This was kind of in the beginning of my knitting. I have I think it's 4 pages of the pattern that I rewrote with calculations of percentages and all different stitch counts, because that's just this is how my brain operated at the time. I still always, even then, went rogue. And I love it. I travel with this thing everywhere. It goes with everything. I'm not a super neutral girl. This is mega neutral. It doesn't get any more neutral. And definitely my most worn. This is why I had to show it. And I feel with every year that passes, this gets better. I feel it's like us, we age and we get better. I feel that's a sweater. It gets fluffier, cozier, softer. It's ridiculous.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
It's ridiculous.
I feel all my neutral sweaters currently, I have one, there's mohair in there, and my other is that massive fold over turtleneck that I think I finished last winter. I don't have any daily wear kind of neutral sweaters, so I feel that needs to be next on the to knit list. But oh my god, that color work is just such a showstopper. It's such a showstopper. I love the little texture from the alpaca in there too, and that you just took the one motif and continued it down instead of the repeating. I don't know, it's just something about that is ooh.
I know. It lights my little fire of excitement of knitting fire. Favorite of those. It was hard to choose, and I'm sure it was super hard to choose for you too.
Surprisingly, no.
What?
Surprisingly, no. I knew right away. The thing is, I feel when it comes to my sweaters, it's almost like children. How could you pick a favorite?
See? Okay, that's what I'm saying.
How could you? And so it just felt like any sweater I could have chosen, I could have made a good argument for, but I don't know. I'm happy with the crocheted paper bag.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's go into a favorite fiber travel story. So what would you like to share?
Oh my gosh, yes. This is a story that I'm really excited to share because it's fiber and travel, and it is something that I've mentioned on my own podcast before, but just this past summer, my partner and I were in Italy. We were hiking in the Dolomites and staying in a town called Cortina. They're going to be hosting the 2026 Winter Olympics, I believe. There's a lot of construction going on, but that was kind of home base, and we were hiking out to different little day trips for the week that we were spending in Cortina. And on the day of our last hike, or our second to last hike, I think it was, we got rained on quite hard. And so as we were hiking back down to the town, we were like, we're soaking wet. We're desperate for a bathroom. And we decided to pop into this store called the Cooperativa di Cortina, which is not great Italian pronunciation, but the gist of this store is like the Hudson's Bay Company or like a Macy's stacked on top of a Whole Foods and ultra bougie. So just like floors of like stationery, clothing, home goods, grocery store on the base level. Basically anything you could need ever, you could get in this one store. And so we're going up the escalator through the floors of this store, really trying to find a bathroom, but we reached the landing of, I think like the second or the third floor, and I'm not expecting this at all, but I look to my left and there's just this wall full of yarn, and I had such a visceral, involuntary reaction to seeing the yarn, the gasp. I gasped and I just ran. Like there was no processing. There was no processing that happened. I saw the yarn, I gasped, and I booked it toward the wall. And it was wonderful. And it was really cool to see some Italian yarn brands that I was familiar with, like the Line du Nord, I believe, is from Italy, and Lanigato they had a few of. Okay, yeah. They also had a good amount of Rowan yarns as well, but then some Italian brands that I hadn't seen before. So that was like I was so excited, it literally overrode the urge to use the bathroom. And I had to spend some time with this yarny wall, which was, yeah, just like really cool, a lot of fun.
That's lovely.
We were traveling backpack only, so alas, I couldn't take home too much with me, but it was just a really true and pure moment for me. So yeah, that's my little fun yarny story. When you see the yarn, you go to it.
I love it. That's nice. And I feel like there was no expectation.
No
expectation. It was a total surprise of going.
Especially since like we were traveling in August. And so we'd been in Rome, we'd been in Florence, and the knitting yarny culture in Italy is maybe not as large as it is other places in Europe. So a lot of the shops, and really the work and the hustle culture is not the same as it is here in North America. So a lot of the shops are closed for several weeks through the summer. So Rome, Florence, we tried a couple shops and they were all closed. So I, at that point, had been like, it's okay, I'm probably not going to find any yarn on this trip. And that's all right, because there's yarn everywhere else, and it was just meant to be.
That's lovely. I feel so many things. Like, I feel now, post-pandemic-y, we can get our hands on so many different beautiful yarns from all over the world, especially in Toronto. Even physically,
we're spoiled.
The amount of shops we have, the quality and quantity of millions of brands, like yarn brands, we can go and touch and sniff and squish in person. We can look at colorways, but there's something really special when you come across something that you maybe couldn't get your hands on as easily where we are, or new exciting yarn. Oh, that's gorgeous.
It was a fun moment.
That's really nice. I love grouping together like the travel that the love of my life and I do with a yarny adventure. It just, for me, travel brings me such joy in general, but if I can couple it with all my very favorite things, like let's do it all. One of the things that I like a story I'm just gonna touch on but not tell will be the Hillis Vlog adventure.
I was thinking about that.
It was ridiculous and amazing. It hit every box of pure joy in my mind. Never mind accomplishment. I felt very satisfied by making it there and back solo without a car. It was an adventure. There's a video that talks all about it.
A near misadventure.
It was a lot. It was amazing. Loved the mill. I mean, it was awesome. But I think as simple and perhaps, I don't know, boring as it sounds, my very favorite travel, like knitting times is when I'm in the mountains hiking. We hike with some food, water, wallet, whatever. And I always have a little knitting. And so it's literally hiking up the mountains. My very favorite area I feel was Mohair in Switzerland. It's this like super tiny village on a cliffside. It's where 007, like, I don't know, in the 70s, I can't remember which exact film it was. The Scarborough, something bro, doesn't matter. It's like super crazy, thousands of feet up in the air mountain that you have to like gondola to get up there. I brought my knitting everywhere with me. I was literally in heaven and knitting on the gondola ride, knitting, looking over the most gorgeous vistas in the world, I would say. And that brings me all the joy I think I could ever want. I'm with the love of my life. I'm in a mountain, like on a mountain with fresh air in a country that I feel is just stunning with my knitting. It's that whole grouping of all those things that I couldn't even put a price tag on. No. It's just the best. It's the best. Anyway, so yeah, mountains, Marin, we've done like specific like hikes through and around the mountains, and there's always, as you've discovered, like there's always these little villages or huts or restaurants within the hiking that you can go and enjoy this beautiful handmade meal with a glass of bubbles or a beer and you're knitting. Oh, it's ridiculous. And I feel always coupling these lovely experiences, but then having the knitting is just the cherry on top. Mm-hmm. It brings me that extra light of joy. Ugh.
And then you have the knit piece, and it's just like an artifact of that like sentimentality. It's really, beautiful.
Totally. Every stitch has a meaning and a memory. It's so true.
Even if it's a TTC memory.
There's a lot of those. There's a lot of those for both of us. It's true. I know. We're always on the go when we knit.
Yes.
And yeah, there's a lot of missing needles and stitch markers on those things. Favorite yarn.
Favorite yarn. I'm really excited about this one, actually.
Yeah.
Favorite yarn is one that I used quite recently. I'm gonna say it's the Knit Picks Wool of the Andes tweed worsted weight, or really just like any of the Knit Picks Wool of the Andes worsted. It feels like there's a million colorways of this yarn to begin with. It's a really great economical yarn. It is a worsted weight. I want to say also worsted spun with a good, like nice tight ply to it. And something about the heathered colorways just have so much like depth and dimension. The tweed adds so much. I recently knit my Amy sweater by Petite Knit in this particular Vineyard Heather colorway. And I just felt like the tweed with the heathering of the yarn itself did a really good job just breaking up the sea of stockinette, because you saw when I was working on that, I had just split for sleeves or something like that, and you were like, that's gonna be huge. And I was like, yeah, that's the hope.
So good, but huge.
But if it weren't for like the texture in the yarn, it would have looked like a little bit of a tent. So I think the yarn made that garment really as successful as it was. It's a quite economical yarn if you're ordering from Canada or the US. Usually if I order from Knit Picks, I try to order enough for the free shipping, which is a sweater quantity and then a little bits and bobs here and there. But it's very, very comparable to like the Knitting for Olive heavy merino, maybe a little scratchier than the heavy merino, perhaps a bit closer to the Sendisgarn Burgin, which is what that Petite Knit Amy sweater is written for, or that's the recommended yarn for that sweater. So I enjoyed working with it. The sweater's gotten a lot of wear already, and I don't suspect it will be pilling all of that much. And you know, as much as I love like my Knitting for Olive and my slightly more luxurious fibers and yarn combinations, every Knit Picks yarn I have used has just felt like a workhorse, kind of like staple you can go back to time and time again kind of yarn that I think could work for a lot of knitters. They have lots of different fibers. Really, Knit Picks has almost everything, anything you could want. So
I love it. I love the tweed.
The tweed is great. Yeah. Especially like the black, the beige, it just makes it go really well with neutrals. Kind of just pulls it in, and it relates well to like if I want to wear brown slacks, black slacks, like it goes with all of it. Slacks, trousers, dress pants.
Slacks.
I don't call them slacks. I don't know why I said that.
That's great.
Pants.
That's great. Okay, I'm gonna wear some slacks after this. Again, I'm being naughty, and I picked two. I know, I'm so naughty. Boss of my own knitting. Like, look at me. I come up with the rules, and I'm like, I'm gonna break all of them. I've got the Ramafino by Ramagon and Let Lo Be by Istex. So two super rustic yarns. This is a sport weight. It is a smaller mill. I'd say smaller. I didn't go to the mill in Norway, and is a toothier yarn. I've used this for a number of favorite fingerless mittens. I've used this held double to make the Sorel sweater, which I adore. Yeah, it's got great stitch definition. I mean, I do not have anything negative to say. The only thing I would want in Canada is that we get more Rama yarn here in different yarn weights. When I was in Norway, I saw a bunch. I didn't make it up to the mill. It was that much out of the way that I couldn't justify going up. Yeah, I love it. It's fantastic. The next is, of course. So I feel like it's out of your comfort zone fully.
Probably.
Yeah.
Every time I see it though at the Knitting Loft, like they have every single color that this yarn comes in. You know, I think I heard, was it Amy of Knee Knits say the other day that this has been discontinued?
What do you mean?
Big question marks. We're gonna have to fact check. Like, I heard that and I was like, that's impossible.
That's impossible.
It's impossible. But anyway.
No.
Oh, the colors are so attractive.
I know. And this is it. They come in like such a rainbow. You can do such fun, silly combinations. I know.
Yeah.
We need to do some color work in this. I don't know. I have never done color work in this, but I should.
Really?
I know.
Seems like it would be perfect.
What many people do.
Yeah.
Let Lo Be, this was the same yarn that the Anchor sweater was knit in. It's yarn that I've given away on the channel before. It's just a really workable, easy, super rustic yarn with big guard hairs. So it has like a fluffy, can't really see, fluffy halo. It's a joy to knit with, in my opinion. It's a joy to wear. I can wear it next to skin. Some people think I'm bonkers, but I do. And yeah, I feel like it's so versatile. You can do Let Lo Be obviously held single. I've paired it recently with a new design that I'm coming out with, the slip over, with no name yet, with a mohair for the first time, and it's stunning fabric. I've also knit this two strands held together to get the gauge of the Alafos lobby. And so like chunky knit. Anyway, I'm such a fan. If I had to knit, which I wouldn't want to only knit with one or two yarns for the rest of my life, but if I had to, I think it would be these two.
They're both so beautiful.
They're beautiful.
The heathering, and like something about a purple heather.
I know.
It's the purple heather specifically that like you got the blues and the pinks in there. It's just,
it's a good time.
It's dreamy.
It's a good time.
Love those.
So favorite yarns. What is sparking joy with you? Doesn't have to be fiber related. We put it out, and it can be absolutely anything.
Okay, I think you're actually gonna love this.
I already do. Go.
Running.
Yes, I knew it was gonna be. I knew it was gonna be.
You had a feeling.
I did. Yeah. I knew it in my heart.
I grew up dancing. I grew up dancing competitively, so very active for many, many years, like in the studio up to 20 hours a week at times. I went to an arts high school and I danced for 6 years at the school that I was at. And then, as I mentioned, throughout my undergrad, I was quite into weightlifting and bodybuilding more specifically, with like a couple little dabbles here and there and things like dragon boating when I was in Toronto working over the summers on like the team for my workplace where I was working. So I've always been quite active, but running has never been quite it for me. And then this fall, I started working at a new school with a very, very active staff, a very physically active culture amongst the staff, like 2 Ironman on the staff, half a dozen marathoners in the Toronto Marathon a couple of months ago at this point. Very, very active. And so one of my colleagues started a run club just this fall, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a try. Putting myself out there, just like socially trying to make connections with colleagues and also just finding a way to continue to be active. And so started running with the run club, and just the past few months with the new school, and it's my first time teaching a full course load, I've just found it really nice to have that physical outlet again, to really get out of my head in a way that knitting doesn't quite do in the same way, because I'm focused on my breathing, I'm focused on where is my foot landing, I'm focused on, okay, how does it feel if I run like this versus like this, especially with like my posture, chest forward and up. So it's just been like,
you know this already.
Right, it's just been a really fun, like physical challenge, personal challenge, mental challenge, providing some social structure to my life as well. And I've got my mitts for the winter. I've got my little puffer vest, my headband. I've got my reflective armbands. I'm ready to keep going. So running has been sparking joy. And if you asked me what that would have, if I would have ever said that even 3 months ago, I might have laughed.
I can't believe when you had messaged to say that you had started running at a run club at school, I think my whole mouth went, because I love it so bad. And when you love something so much, you want everyone else to love it. And now that you're in it, I'm like, oh, it's like finding a person that's just started knitting, like a friend that started knitting. You're like, oh my God, this is the best.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been really good.
Okay. I feel like, I know we've said this, like just us, but now I'm going to say it here so that it happens. We should do a little like race together.
Yes.
Like a fun race.
Yes.
Goodness. Not like, you know, let's be crazy competitive and everything. But yeah, I feel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sporting Life 10K.
Okay. Yes. Okay. I can't wait. Running. Yeah, it's the bloody best. It's so good.
It's been good.
It's so good.
And your joy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's joy. Okay, I was actually going to save my running, but okay.
I just keep talking about running.
I mean, we could. I will say, I know. Look at me. I'll do all the things. I do love running. I'm back in running. I had undiagnosed. Like, this is so gross, and I never talk about like my personal stuff on here. I had pneumonia that was like undiagnosed for a month and a half. It was ridiculous. Doctor's like, you're fine, and so I was still running, I was still going to the gym, I was still doing all my things because this is what we do. We push ourselves, and I pushed myself throughout my whole life for doing different things mentally and physically. This was no different. And then I realized, no, I'm dying. Like I need help. Oh, no. I went to the doctor again. And I'm like, oh, actually, pneumonia. Mm-hmm. So I took 2 solid weeks off of running in the gym, which really made me sad. Like I really need to move my body. I'm an active person. I need to move my hands, my brain needs to be active, and my whole body. And I'm back at it and loving it. It's obviously joyful. Another little piece of joy, which kind of goes with that physical piece, which is so silly, is lyra. I know you're like, what? I haven't posted any video or photo because I feel like it's a little like racy. It's literally, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a hula hoop that's suspended from the ceiling and you do tricks off of the hula hoop.
Oh my gosh. So like aerial.
Aerial-y stuff.
That's sick.
It's pretty ridiculous and it's fabulous. It's so silly. I have a friend that is always into new things. Yeah. And she gets into new things and then she like masters a new thing because she gets so into it that she does all these other supplementary activities to help improve her and grow her whatever she's doing. And so lyra has been a newfound joy for her that she's started I'm not even going to say dragging, like I happily participated with her and it's fun, it's silly, it's a good time. Like I don't take myself very seriously at all, but I really enjoy it. And I think because of all the other activities I do with working out, I have quite a bit of upper body strength. Or even the first class, I'm like pulling myself up in the Delilah and they're like, oh, you can do that already. I'm like, I don't know, like I'm just going. It's been a good time.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so it's like balancing and being up in a hula hoop, pretty much. It's pretty silly, but it's great.
That's amazing. I was not expecting that.
Well, you know, lyra, I don't know. It's a thing. It's a good time. So check it out, lyra, if you want to be suspended and do your best party tricks in the air. There you go.
Why not?
Why not? Bring joy to everybody. Shall we get into the Little Knits KAL, but we're couple it with the new cast-ons?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's do it.
And then I'm gonna figure out how to retrain myself to like video everything. Yeah, it's always a lot going on. So just super quick, the Little Knits KAL, which I've talked about here, is a knit along that we're featuring on Harrisville Knitting, where we're encouraging you to participate in a little knit. It's totally up to you. You're the boss of your knitting on what you classify as little. Could be a vest, a slip over, an accessory, a baby item, whatever you find is little and brings you joy. So with that participation, we have announced a winner already for I have 2 patterns that I've designed myself. I still feel funny about saying it, but there we are. I have to like own it. So 2 patterns I've designed myself, and I've allowed the winners to choose which pattern they want, the Velvet's hat or the favorite fingerless mittens. And then the other part, because the knit along goes until the 31st of December, encouraging us to do all of our little knits, including gift knits if that's your jam, that all the hashtags with Little Knits KAL will be entered in a draw. One will be on Instagram, one will be YouTube for prizes. That's pretty much in a nutshell, so participate. And I hope you have fun, because that's always the objective of a KAL and knitting, I think. So Emily was so lovely and sent her Little Knits options to me. I put them into a wheel to randomizely choose or cast on.
The wheel. The parasol with a knitting wheel. I'm so excited.
It's so silly and so fun. Like it's ridiculous inside. I'm like, ah! Like I love it so bad. And then I did one for me. And we have one overlap.
Okay.
I know, but I did separate wheels because I feel we have different needs and different knitting styles, and
that's fair. That is fair. Jen was like, "Should we do like a different randomized selector this time?" You said the hat one. I was like, "I want the wheel." I was like, "I need to do the wheel."
Okay, so we're gonna randomize you choose. So
I
have to figure out how to get this sorted. Do you want to share? Actually, here I'll do this. Do you want to share about your options? And do you want to know the designers and things? Because I have it in the document.
Oh, yes,
if that helps
please.
You. That might be better.
Let's do that.
Yeah. And then scroll up.
Yeah. I'm not a Mac girly, I have to say.
Sorry.
I always get confused.
Down into the Emily's patterns mentioned.
Got you. Okay.
And then there's your options.
Here we go. Oh, designed by. I'm just gonna click.
Oh, shoot. I missed one.
Sorry. There we go. All good.
Okay.
Okay. So, Little Knits, I feel like I took a little bit of liberty with what I was classifying as little. And I tried to pick patterns with a little bit of a variety in terms of what they are. Although, I mean, out of 5, there's 2 headbands. So that's 40% headbands. I don't know what I'm saying.
You do you.
In any case, the first headband that I have selected is a free pattern. It's a free pattern by Celeste Knitwear called the Frosted Window Headband. This one's knit flat. It's got an integrated I-cord edge. And then I want to say this is a faux cable detail that uses sort of like an eyelet lace stitch.
Like a yarn over maybe? Yeah.
Maybe a yarn over and a K2 together or something like that. So it looks like cables. I thought it was sweet. I figure because I'm getting into the running, having a couple of headbands and a machine washable yarn would be quite practical.
Perfect.
Especially so that it's not like too prickly on the forehead like a really woolly wool might be, especially once I am sweating. The other headband option I have is the Norwegian Rose by Kristen Meimel, which I actually did knit already this year in January. And I just want to knit another one because I really, really like it. It's a gorgeous Fair Isle 2-color colorwork pattern. It is, I think I mentioned already, also a free pattern. And yeah, it's just lovely. I have a couple of sport weight yarns in my pantry. One of them is the Spin Cycle dyed in the wool that I think would suit this pattern really, really nicely.
That'd be nice.
I have the colorway is called Pick Your Poison. It's kind of like a dusty pastel green, purple, yellow with a dark forest green. I think would be epic.
So the dark forest green would be your main
Color.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spin Cycle is the contrast. Other patterns I have the Scrap Bag by Annabelle Chang. This has been making the rounds in all the free gift knit pattern roundups, and that is precisely where I plucked it from. And I think that would be good as a little home for a reusable shopping bag just to keep in my purse, because I have a reusable shopping bag, but it doesn't fold in on itself.
Okay.
So you know how like some of the bags, like they are their own little pouch as well, like those thin plasticky ones.
Tuck it in.
Yeah, like that's the vision I'm imagining for that.
Cool.
Any scrappy yarn would probably do.
Yeah.
What else? I have the Pressed Flowers Kerchief of the Pressed Flowers fame by Amy Christoffers.
Yes.
This was a free collab that she did with Hobby and Pom Pom. So same motif as the socks, the shawl, the hat, the etc. etc.
Did you find this solo? Did you find this on your own?
I think I remember just like opening Ravelry on one of my routine checks and seeing it one day, and I was like, oh wow, that's really cool, and just saved it. And so I think just like a little scarf moment. Mosaic knitting I find enjoyable. I've done a couple mosaic knitting patterns at this point, and you know, if you love the Pressed Flowers kind of design but aren't really sure which of the projects or patterns is for you, you have a free option that you could go for. And then the last pattern I have in my wheel is the Moonflower Collar by Sari Nordland, which is the only not free pattern in this little collection, but one that I already have in my library. And I think it's just something I'm gonna knit whether or not the wheel tells me to today.
Totally.
So I thought I would toss it in and just have it be, you know, I'm a little intimidated by the cables. The chart for this pattern is out of this world.
You purchased
this is
it
like, I have it already.
Oh yeah, you're gonna
yes,
do it. Yeah.
This is like the extent of the cables that I've done in the past two years. I did the La Lu shawl. I test knit that for Sari Nordland 2021. I want to say that was intense lace and cables, but even that was not as wild as this Moonflower Collar. So I think I just need like a push to cast it on.
Yeah. This is good.
Yeah, so that's my wheel of 5.
I like it. Okay, so I feel like I need to share mine only because there's one overlap.
Yes.
Is that okay? And
of
then
course.
we'll spin?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. We'll spin ours together. So one of my options is the Pressed Flowers not pullover, I knit that already. The kerchief.
Yes.
Ironically, it came up when I was doing a whole selection process for like the Little Knits inspo about different patterns. I can't believe it's free.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
And it's never come up in my, I don't know, my searches or come across my Ravelry page before, which I find weird. And this is it. I always find like going through and curating a new selection of, you know, cast or knits or whatever, is that there's always things that have just been in the background of Ravelry that have never for some reason made it to my eyeballs, I think. So it's interesting that you also now have that kind of in the forefront of the Plus Flowers kerchief, which is a gorgeous pattern. Another thing that's going to be on my wheel is the Chelsea toque. This came up as well in my Little Knits Inspo, and is a toque with, I think it's like lace work that paper pattern, but it's such a stunner. It's got a folded over brim. And I would knit it for me, not as a gift knit. Like, I love this hat. So
all of those are for me.
Okay, okay.
Let me be clear.
All right. Because I mean, it's this time of year where I feel, you know, there's the good knitting community where it's like, oh, we're making for everyone else. And I'm like, I want to make for me still. There will be gift knits eventually. I've incorporated as well scarf number 4 from My Favorite Things Knitwear. I didn't say sorry. Chelsea toque is by Kiyomi Burgin. Obviously, Press Flowers kerchief is by Amy Christoffers. Savory Knitting. Scarf number 4 is by My Favorite Things Knitwear. Also came up in my knitting inspo for Little Knits last week, and is a paper pattern, which I feel like this is how like naughty I am. I'm like, I could probably figure it out without the pattern. However, do I want to use the brain space to do that, or do other creative endeavors? So I think I will purchase a pattern if this one comes up. It has been on my queue forever.
Which one is the number 4?
I'll show you quickly. It's hold on.
It's the one with the different textures.
It's got a little texture to it. Yeah, it's really simple. Like, you're looking at like purl bumps, and then it's like a rib,
some ribbed columns. Yeah,
with probably super simple
integrated eye cord,
decrease. Yeah. This is why I feel like I looked at the La Bandana from Amy Gillet. No, is that it? La Bien-Aimée? I think Gillet. And I looked at it and I was like, I just want it for me. I enjoy the challenge of looking at something and being creative where I can figure it out. And I feel like I did. Like, I didn't rip her pattern off. I'm not publishing anything obviously for this, but I recreated it just by looking at it. I feel like I could do the same. We'll see. Scarf number 4, it's gorgeous, and it will have to get knit eventually. The next is a different one for me. It didn't come up in my knitting inspo, but this comes up out of a necessity piece that I want for myself now that it's getting really chilly. Is the Nelly neck warmer from My Favorite Things Knitwear. Paper pattern, really simple, just pull over neck piece, like a turtleneck, but has like a Dickie-esque front to back. It's the second time in 2 weeks I've used the word Dickie, ironically. Really simple, looks like 1x1 ribbing. And yeah, bulky but cozy. I need it with my wool coats. Like, I like scarves. Do I want to knit a full-blown scarf to wrap around 100 times in my neck? No. Do I want to knit something that I'm getting kind of that same warm effect, but can be knit up in a fraction of the time? Yes. So we're doing it. And again, if it doesn't get spin up, I think I will have to make it sooner than later for me. It's one of your Dickie.
My Dickie.
We're talking about Dickies. Who knew? The last one is a gift knit for my mother and her dog. I have,
oh my gosh,
it's ridiculous. My mom has this little rescue, I don't know, Bichon mix, something rather. We're not really sure. This little thing. Her to goal, but like, you know, she's a special dog. And my mom has asked for a sweater for her for years. And every time I'm like, oh, for sure. Like, it's a little knit. I'll be quick and I'll knit. I've never done it. This wheel, it's so naughty. And don't tell my mother, she doesn't watch the podcast ever, so I can say it. I feel like it has to come up on the spinner.
Or you won't do
this dog sweater, or I won't do it. So, but I'm like, I want to knit so many other things.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Okay. So that's the Edinburgh seamless dog sweater. It's a free pattern. It's a dog sweater. I'm going to be knitting for a dog at some point.
Funny. That's so funny.
So the dog sweater.
I can't wait for you to see the photo.
It's going to be great. Okay. All right. So, let's get out the message, and we are going to try to screenshot this, spin it, and celebrate with whatever the new cast start is. So, Emily, do you want to just recap your options?
Okay, my options are the frosted window headband, the pressed flowers kerchief, the Norwegian rose headband, the moonflower collar, and the scrap bag.
Okay, so let's see how I can do this, because I know sometimes it takes some. I can do this. Okay, yep, we're already in it. And then it's this. See, I'm fine. I over.
Wait, you can video screen grab like that?
Yes.
Ooh.
I know. Here, we'll have a chat after about all the things. Okay, I think I'm ready. Hold on,
all right.
Capture. I need to do record. All right. So, do you want to do it?
Click
But you're gonna have to press record too.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna click the record.
Yes.
And then literally all you do is you click the spin.
Click
and
spin.
It records everything. There you go. So we have sound.
Oh, this is exciting.
I know, it's spinning it.
Wow,
Oh my God,
that's
it's in the middle.
close. That was so close.
Oh my God.
We'll take it. We will take it. That's exciting.
Isn't it fun?
That's gonna get a lot of wear.
I'm excited for you.
Nice.
It's beautiful.
Very exciting.
Okay.
Now I just need to find some superwash.
I'm really excited for you.
Love it.
It's beautiful.
It's lovely.
I feel like you talked this one the most. I feel like this was your one where I need this for running.
We manifest it.
I have to do it. Okay. What was your color choice in this that you were gonna do?
I actually think I might need to obtain yarn for this. So we will see. Maybe a Sanduskarn. Well, Sunday is not superwash, is it?
Hold on, I want to make sure. Okay,
I
I
need
want
to
to make
find a
sure that I
superwash.
captured it okay, and I did. One time I lost my spinning,
No.
and I was so sad. Okay, I didn't want to lose it. I'm just gonna make sure it all recorded. What color?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know yet. I think I need to find some yarn for this. I have mostly like scrappy superwash bits. I don't know if I have enough for a full headband. I've been really into like the stone grays, like the grays that have a little bit of a brown kind of undertone to them. So maybe I'll see if there's something kind of neutral that'll work.
Okay,
Or maybe I'll just knit two into a bright color as well. I don't know.
But you're running. Do you want something bright? No.
So this is the thing. All of my running gear is black, and I feel like that's probably not the safest.
No. You need bright.
I think
Go for bright. Go
great,
for bright.
great excuse to shop.
How wonderful would it be? Like, okay, black to head to toe. You've got your lights and your reflectors, and then pop.
Yeah. Maybe I do a bright orange again. I love me my oranges.
Yes, orange.
Yes.
You have to. You know where my heart is with orange.
Okay, I'm gonna have to find one.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm like, do I have something even that could, I don't know, be enough for a headband? I feel like I might look.
Yeah, I definitely want something washable. I would even go for something with like a cotton blend, just for that like comfort if I get sweaty.
Yeah, no, not washable. I'm not the washable girl. Okay, we don't wash. All right, for me. Okay. It's fun to do it with somebody. I feel like you have to come over
The
all the time.
anticipation, it's so
It's
good.
true. So we have scarf number 4, the Chelsea tube, the pressed flowers kerchief, the dog sweater, the dog sweater, an Embro dog sweater, seamless dog sweater, and the Nelly neck warmer. All right, we're gonna capture this puppy. Literally no pun intended. Puppy. Is it gonna happen? Is the dog sweater
It might
gonna
happen.
go? Okay, kind of want to, kind of don't. Okay.
It might be
so I'm gonna
foretold.
record. And we're gonna go. I'm gonna spin it. I kind of want a selfish knit though. I want a knit for me. It's gonna be a knit for me. Okay, I'm thrilled.
Amazing.
I'm thrilled.
Amazing.
The Chelsea tube. We're on the hat train. We continue on the hat train. The Chelsea tube paid for pattern. We're looking at folded brim ribbing. I'm gonna get out of this. Yes, I am. And we're gonna do that. We're making sure that it recorded, which it did. No tech issues here. Awesome. And like lacy work. It's gonna be fabulous.
I like that they're kind of like related.
I like it. And you know, with all the hats I've been knitting up, it's been bonkers with hats. And I feel this is it too, is that I feel like I knit all the hats, but I'm happy to also give them away as gifts. All right. That was great.
That was fun.
Okay.
That was so much fun. And we did that in an hour and 10 minutes.
I'm pretty proud of us.
That's pretty impressive.
I feel, we're the efficient train today. Okay, but I feel like each topic we have to like dive in more. All right. So are we wrapping?
I guess we are.
Let's wrap. First of all, I want to thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I have a little something for you.
No, you don't.
I do.
No.
I do.
Ah.
Okay.
Oh no.
I do. No, I do. Here's what I'm gonna offer up. Okay. Okay. I have.
Look at these.
And I'll just explain really quickly. You can choose as you wish. If you want something different, let me know. This is Bellwood's hat. This came out last weekend.
Gorgeous.
Broken rib. I just cast this one off yesterday. I have so much yarn left over. It's a Filguana Peruvian knitting for olive. It's pink and red, so it's super loud.
It's good,
and it's short. It's much shorter and a different gauge than the original beanies were. These ones are the same. They're from they're the 4 garn by Harrisville, so they're the 2 strands held double. Those were the original. Those were the OGs.
These like together are as light as the one.
It's ridiculous.
That's amazing.
Right? It's ridiculous. This one I have worn full on. So I'm happy to like keep a block and give it to you nicer. This one never. So there we are. And then this, you didn't even get to see this one. This was a total like mess up. This was a Bellwood's hat that I just grabbed quickly the yarn, needles, and I just went on the train and started like knitting. Totally different, like I don't know what I was doing. I knitted on the wrong needles. It turned out to be ridiculous massive. I played with it in the wash. I felted it.
A little felting, yeah.
I put it in the dryer. I put it as an option in case you want like some crazy like ironclad knit hat. But it's up to you. You choose one, and
well,
there we are.
They're
Just a
all
little
beautiful.
Thank you for coming.
They're all beautiful, and they're all so spectacular. I feel like, so my winter coat is like a cranberry, kind of like dark, not quite Bordeaux, but it definitely has like a purpley tone. I feel like this would be
okay. And this one's short, so we want it bigger. Let me know and I can do a bigger
No,
one.
this is amazing.
That's not blocked yet.
This is not blocked yet.
No, I just passed off.
Are you joking?
Night. No, it's not blocked yet.
Wow, that is like impressively, wow. My ribbing does not look that straight, ever. Never,
Really?
ever. Nope.
There we go. Okay, so the red one it is.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Yay!
Yay.
Okay, so thanks for coming on. Loved it. I hope this won't be the last.
Hopefully not. This has been a long time coming. I'm so glad that we did this.
I know, me too. We want to thank you so much for being here today. We very much invite you to go onto the Little Knits KAL, join it with a little knit. We wish you great joy in your little and big knitting. And until next time, take care.
See ya.
Bye.